Hey everybody, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. Tonight I'm going to be doing a review on a brand new holster that I actually just got in the mail today. So I'll show you what came with it. And I'm sure as soon as you see it, everybody will be like, oh, you finally did it. So I wound up getting a holster from Vedder Holsters. Now, for a while, I didn't really know if I wanted to do it because I was a little concerned about the price point. You know, for me, I always look for affordable products that are of good quality and good functionality. And for me, the Vedder holster just seemed a little bit too extreme in regards to price. Now, a lot of people, when they've seen my videos in regards to the other holsters that I own, a lot of people are saying, you know what, definitely try a Vedder holster. They make great holsters. I know Coda Boy's got one, or at least I think it's his. It might be his, might be a friend's. I'm not certain. And I know some of the other viewers have made comments that they have them and that I should definitely check them out. So I decided to, and I'll show you what I got. So this is the holster I bought. Boom. That's your Vedder holster. Now you can see that this is the Cryptic Kydex. This is the Mandrake camo pattern, or at least the color. And I have to say I really like it. I'm a big fan of the Cryptic Kydex. I love it. So if I was going to review this holster just on the way it looks, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Love it. It's perfect. However, it's not just that. You know, there's other things that I'm going to do and talk about that some people might agree with, some people may not agree with. But again, that's your own opinions. Just like this is going to be my own opinion. It may not, correlate with what you want. But unfortunately, I got to do an honest review, man, because I paid a lot of money for this thing. One of the other things that I have to say that I really like about this holster is the clip. This is probably one of the best clips that I have on any Kydex holster that I own. Now, I own a lot of Kydex holsters, and I have to say that this one, I have to say, is probably better than all the other Kydex holsters just because of that one clip. Now, the reason why I say that is because of the usability of the clip. You can see that you can move the cant forward or backwards, depending on how you wear your holster, and it's really easy to do. Just unscrew this, and then you kind of move this along, and the washer follows along with it. So, from that aspect, it's very nice. Good functionality, very usable. The cant is, in my opinion, just perfect. So I like that. That's a thumbs up, 10 out of 10, just like the color of the Kydex. So again, if I was going to do a holster just on those two things, this is a total winner, totally worth the price. You have your single retention, which is quite common. I don't think you can fit really a double retention here. I mean, maybe you could, but does that really make a big difference? I don't think so. So I don't think that's a big deal. The lines of it, in regards to smoothness of the edges, obviously every Kydex I get, I always rub the edges to see if there's any, issues with the fit, anything with any, jagged lines, anything that sticks out that might protrude, that might kind of stick you in your love handles or something like that. In this case, everything's pretty smooth, so I don't really have any complaints with that. The only thing that I would say that is more of an aesthetic issue is that when they molded the Kydex and they kind of burrowed this out a little bit, you can see that it lost some of the coloring of the Kydex itself around the edges, which again, is that a huge deal? Absolutely not. It's still a great holster. Now, in regards to fit and finish, in regards to the fit of the pistol itself, again, let's hear how it clicks. I mean, that's a really positive click. Now, I like that on all the holsters I own. To me, that is always the big winner for me. The idea that the holster is retained very well on the pistol, to me, makes a huge difference than something that's kind of flopping around. Excuse me, my voice is going a little bit here. But you can see that, the gun is held very well. There's no loose-fitting pistol here. Even the trigger guard is held in really nicely. So no issues with that. There's no wiggle whatsoever. The retention of the pistol is very, very good. So at that, 10 out of 10. So, right now, this holster looks like a huge winner. This is definitely a winner holster. It's something that I think a lot of people would like. And I think that's why many people actually told me to get one. And that's why I got it. Now, the starting price is on Vedder holsters. And this is where it gets kind of, fishy for me. Not fishy in a bad way. Not like I'm calling them crooks or anything. I'm just saying for me, it's just kind of a big pill to swallow in regards to the price. Now, if you just get a basic black Kydex holster, it's $54.99. Some people may say, well, that's not bad. $54 for a nice, good Kydex holster with a great clip and, just good Kydex. Why wouldn't you pay that? Well, let me explain why. This one here I got for, I believe, $29. This one, again, is the Cryptic Kydex. This is the Highlander. so it's got a little more green tone in it, that sort of thing. But you can see that it's very similar. You got your single clip retention. You don't obviously have the movable clip. You have your basic plastic clip up here. But again, it does the job. It's a good fit. You know, no issues with that. Kydex is probably of the same quality. About you know, they're both 0.08, so they're not too thick, not too, you know, crazy. Lines are very smooth on this. So, you know, the only thing I would say was kind of a downer on this one was the fit on it was not that good. I mean, you can see that the trigger guard here kind of protrudes a little bit from the back. Other than that, it's still a functional holster. I don't know if I necessarily like that, just the way this protrudes in the back. You know, I would rather have a better finish where the gun was actually able to sit a little bit more forward so that this wasn't as exposed as it is. But again, is it going to, you know, give you an accidental discharge or anything like that? No. I mean, it's still going to do what it needs to do, and that, of course, is to protect the trigger guard, protect the trigger most importantly, and to make sure you don't have an accidental discharge. You know, retention is pretty good. It's not the best. You know, I could probably tighten this down a little bit, but then it becomes almost impossible to take it out. And as you can see, I have it tightened down pretty damn good right now. So, you know, overall, is this quality of this one on par with this? No, I think there's a little bit more attention to detail on this one. But for $29 as opposed to $90, you wonder if you're really getting your money's worth. Now, that's just my opinion. Again, great holster, not saying Vedder stinks or anything like that. I'm just going over the price and why I'm having a tough time trying to, I guess, establish and put my mind around it. So that one's 29 bucks. Beautiful Kydex. You know, love the color. Everything else is great. Fit and finish, you know, definitely not on the level of this one, but still pretty, it's okay. It's not bad. Now, going back to another one. Here you've got the Ghost Tag. Now, I will tell you, this is a great holster. Fit and finish is wonderful. The Kydex is really good. 0.08 Kydex. I would have to say this one might be a little more rigid than this. One of the only things that I would say this has over this is the clip. The clip itself is a lot more functional, especially when you're going to draw your pistol. You can see that there's no interference with any finger. You know, you're going right up, and I like that. So it makes that natural angle so that you're not going near your trigger. So that's a big plus for me on that pistol, or on this holster. Now, of course, on the Ghost Tag, it's a little bit different because of where they place the clip. Had the clip been placed in the middle, you wouldn't have any issues, but it's placed right near the trigger guard. So when you go to draw that pistol, depending on how much of a cant you have, as you draw, you're going to knuckle it. You know what I mean? You're going to actually stick your finger, and your finger's going to have to actually push in. Now, when you have a pair of pants on or something like that, that might not be a feasible thing, but I've carried it, and I've practiced drawing with it, and I haven't had any issues. But again, you know, to each their own. Sometimes it'll work for you, sometimes it won't. Plus, you can always adjust this. I have this very angled, so if I was to take it and kind of angle it a little bit further back up where it's not so canted, it wouldn't be such a problem. But, you know, is it a deal killer with this one? No, it's not. Is it as good as this one? Probably not. Now, in regards to another Kydex holster, this is my Tactical Justice holster. I have two of these. And, you know, I definitely like it. You know, it really is a good holster. You know, I'm trying to adjust the light here, guys, so I apologize. You know, I'm still trying to get the whole, you know, recording thing done, but the lighting in my room here is just horrible, so I may have to invest in something a little bit better. But, you know, this Kydex holster is very nice. It's double the width of this one. This one's a 0.16. This one's 0.08, so it's double. So you can see it's got a little more rigidity to it, although I don't know, you might be blind by this. But you can see it's got much more rigidity than, let's say, this one does. This one, obviously, you can squeeze and it'll actually go in a little bit. Not too much, but definitely not as rigid as that. But it's not supposed to be. This is double the width as opposed to this one. You know, the clip isn't as, in my opinion, as good, but it's still pretty damn good. You know, it's going to hold your pistol in place. You know, the cant isn't as dramatic as, let's say, this one here. But some people don't need a full 15-degree cant, you know. So, you know, that's not a bad deal. You don't have as many options in this as you do on this one, but again, this is still a pretty solid holster. Now, getting over to this one, which is the giveaway holster. Okay, again, very nice Kydex. Everything is really nice. It's not as rigid, I'd say, as this one here, but I think that has to do as to just the overall size of the holster. I mean, this is not as big. This one's a little bit bigger, so you have a little bit more material to work with. This one isn't as big, but still does a very good job with the 320 in it. And again, this is the 200 subscriber giveaway, just reminding you. Now, one of the things that I think got me on this holster as to why I started asking myself some questions as to whether or not this holster was worth $90, was the fact that when I also look at the holsters, I look at the molding. Now the exterior molding on this holster is actually pretty nice. Okay, you have this piece here, which is, it doesn't exactly match the entire pistol, so it's not like it's looking like a glove type of thing. Sorry, that was my tripod. Who cares? But when you look at it, it doesn't necessarily match with the slide or with the slide lock. The slide lock is a very long slide lock, but it's not as long as this. However, it doesn't interfere with the actual holding of the gun itself. And I actually think it looks pretty cool, to be honest with you. Now, one of the things that I do look is to see whether or not the exterior of it meets up with the pistol perfectly, if there's any issues with that. And overall, I'd have to say there really isn't. There's nothing here that I would say is terrible. But at the same time, one of the things that I think kind of bothered me about the holster was the interior, strangely enough. Now, I know a lot of people don't really look inside their holsters, but even in here, you can just see along the trigger guard area right here. None of this stuff in here actually matches anything with the pistol. I mean, it's almost like the Kydex itself it lost some of its structure. I don't really know how to describe it because I'm not a holster maker, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But the interior is very smooth. There are not a lot of details on the interior. There's a lot of kind of chunky pieces in the Kydex that don't really fit anything. So if I was going to knock this holster for anything, it would be the lack of detail on the interior of the holster. Now, some might say, well, that's not going to really make a big difference. It's not going to destroy the functionality of the holster. And they would be accurate in saying that. But I would tell you that some of the other holsters that I have, whether it's this one here, whether it's any of the other three that I've shown you in the video, every single one of these has much more detail inside the interior of the molding. So I don't know why that is with this one, but is it a concern that it's going to do something with the quality and the functionality of the holster? Probably not. I would say it's probably most likely not going to do anything. But my only issue with it was that for $90, I would expect a little bit more detail inside the holster. Again, maybe that's not the way it's supposed to be. I'm not sure. But I would say to me, that's the only disappointing feature. When I look on the inside of it, it's not exactly a perfect mold. And as a matter of fact, when I first got it and I was putting the gun in and then removing the gun, I was scratching out a lot of excess, Kydex. So when I would withdraw the gun, there would be Kydex all over the slide, all over the Picatinny rail. So again, what that means to me is that this molding process that they went through with this pistol wasn't exactly perfected. And I think for me, that's kind of why I say to myself, I don't know if it's really worth $90. It looks nice, love the clip, but I just don't know. For example, this in black is $54.99. This one I got here was, I believe it was $49.99, and it's just as functional as this one. So, again, I'm not trying to badmouth any companies or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you an honest opinion as to whether or not I believe this is worth $90. So what I'd like for you guys to do is let me know. What do you think? Do you think that this Vedder holster is worth $90, or do you think that maybe it could slightly be overpriced, comparatively speaking to some of the cheaper ones that I own? But again, that's really going to be something that only I can decide necessarily right now with what I have in front of me, because I own all of these holsters. These are mine. I've paid for all of them with the exception of this one right here. And as a result, when I look at them, I compare them to each other. And is there a clear, decisive winner? I mean, would I say that this Vedder holster was the best of all of them? I would tell you no, it's not. Would I sit here and recommend it to you? Yes, I would. I think it's a really good holster. I think there's some really good features. Again, the clip is great. The amount of color options you have for the holster is wonderful, or are wonderful. But I honestly couldn't tell you that this is better than any of the others on this table. There are certain things about each one of them that are negatives, but yet at the same time, for the price of this one, I could have literally gotten more of these from Tactical Justice, and I could have gotten another Ghost Tag or gotten one from Clearwater Tactical. So again, that's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that, be careful what you spend. You have to think clearly to decide whether or not you want to spend the $90 on one holster. Because I've said in my past videos, sometimes spending $90 on one holster isn't worth it when you have multiple pistols and you can actually buy 2 or 3 holsters for those pistols. So I hope you guys are having a great night. Again, hopefully you'll subscribe. Again, we have our 200 subscriber giveaway coming up soon. We're about, I think 47 short. So we just need 47 more people to subscribe. So go ahead and do it. We're almost up to 200. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Keep watching, keep subscribing, keep thumbing up. And as always, I hope you guys are having a great night, and freedom is never free.